Start. You're live.
So, welcome to our Beyond Davos. I make
Ah,
It's a great pleasure to see you, talk to you, hear you again. I'm very excited. I really appreciate that you take out the time to be here. The reason of this meeting is to know each other a little bit more. In first place, we are Global Shaper. I am Lorangelis Thomas from San Juan Hub. Girls, introduce yourself. Not all at the same time. This is Liz from Davao Hub in Philippines.
yes, I was doing the controls on the sides. I wasn't paying attention. So hi, I am Liz from the Davao Hub. You're live.
So
Yeah, we are. So actually, I haven't taught you this, but
welcome to our Beyond Davos. I make
yeah, go, Lori. Oh, what happened? Very
It's a
Sanjana.
great pleasure to see you, talk to you, hear you again. I'm very excited. I really appreciate that you take out the time to be here. The reason of this meeting is to know each other a little bit more. In first place, we are Global Shaper. I am Lorangelis Thomas from San Juan Hub. Girls, introduce yourself.
Yep. So I am Liz, Liz Alcelera.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. I'm
This is Liz from Davao Hub in Philippines.
Yes, I was doing the control.
Stop. Good. So we also have Sanjana from Bangalore Hub in India. And so what we're trying to do here is know a little bit more about one of our hub projects and also about what we do as leaders in our community and our countries. So at Davos, there was just too much going on, so we didn't get the chance to meet each other, and we mostly were focused on making some contacts with key partners, but we forgot that we, Global Shapers, are also key partners, and in the future, like we be the important leaders, and maybe other people will want to meet us. And not only in the future, but right now, we are also leaders and key partners. So, I have three questions that I wanted to make to you. We all have personal tests, but as citizens of the world, um, I truly believe that there are two things that we all can agree. First one is that we want to make the world a better place, or at least leave it better as than we find it. And number two, we all want to be happy. So the three questions will be, um, number one, tell us about some project at your hub. Number two, beyond being a shaper, what do you do that makes you a leader? And number three, a citizen of the world, how can we collaborate?
Ooh, I see. Okay, so do I answer that one? Yeah?
You can start, Liz.
Before I start, let us check Sanjana first because I am missing her from the screen. I don't know if she's with the Hangouts first. She said she changed computers. Hey, Sanjana. Where are ya? Just a minute. Okay, Sanjana said, Liz, I'm here. Screen frozen. Hear you talk. Okay, so the first question, what was the first question again, Lori?
Tell us about some project at your hub, maybe the most meaningful or the one that you are more involved at.
So the first question is project. Second one is um, the hub project. Second is what was the second question? I'll try to list it in the chat so that we have a guide.
The second question is, beyond being a shaper, what
Ooh,
do
what
you
do you
do that makes you a leader?
do? And then the last is as citizens of the world, how can we collab as citizens of the world? Okay, so I'll start with the hub project. Okay, currently the biggest project that Davao Hub is handling would be what we call Project Save. Project Save is a financial literacy program that we launched in order to reach out to young people and help them how to save. So basically, during just to do a bit of a background story, um, when we had the World Economic Forum on East Asia, which was held last year, East Asian countries would be the Asia of Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, South Korea, Japan, the countries in that region. We had a World Economic Forum in May 2014, and then we sort of tried to list down what are the common problems among our countries, and financial literacy was one of the things that came out, which we share commonly. So commonly as East Asia, we said that the youth in our communities has a difficulty on being financially literate, meaning knowing how to handle their money, knowing what to do with their allowances if they're students, if they're already working, they have a salary, or how do they handle that salary? How do they budget? Do they set aside something for savings? Do they prepare for the life in the future? So those are some of the problems that pinpointed out. We pointed out. So when I got back to my hub, this is one of the things that we put focus on. Project Save is really a project initiated not by the Davao Hub Global Shapers, but of my company. And then Global Shapers came in to do a partnership. So the role of Global Shapers there in the Project Save, I will explain later. So as I said, Project Save is a financial literacy program wherein we tap the youth, help them build the skills on how to save. So there are three things with this project. The first one is what you call the idea, the theory, the mindset. You know, building the right attitude on how to manage your finances. Number two, the support system. So what helps you, what enables you to actually do that saving. So for the support system, we partnered with a local bank which offers a mobile banking service facility. So when we do the workshops and teaching people how to save, right after the work, there are agents from a local bank which is there in the same venue. The participants can then open a savings account immediately right after the workshop so that they can immediately apply what they have learned. So that's the second one. The third one is community educators. So community educators will be from the participants who attend the Project Save. Some of them volunteers to be trained so that they in turn will help other people learn more about saving. So we have like you can call them as ambassadors, as Project Save ambassadors. So for example, if Lori is a participant of Project Save, so Lori attends a Project Save workshop. After Lori attends the Project Save workshop, when she goes out the door, she will see that there is a table there of different agents from the bank, which will help Lori open a savings account on the spot. Afterwards, Lori will be inspired and saying, I can actually help promote this knowledge, promote this learning to also other youth. So Lori will train to become a trainer. So Lori will train to become a facilitator, and then she will be called a community educator. So now we have Project Save participants, and from the pool of participants, we are getting ambassadors. And then we will train these ambassadors on how to also educate other people and how to save. So the role of the Global Shapers community, of the local Global Shapers in this process, is they are the ones who strengthens the skills of the ambassadors, of the community educators. So the partners within Project Save is number one, Invest Mindanao, the company which gives out the workshops. Number two, the local bank, which gives out the service. And number three, the global shapers who help strengthen the skills of the ambassador. So what are these skills? Number one, communication skills. Because of course, for you to become an ambassador, you should know how to express your ideas. You should know how to talk, how to tap other people. So with the global shapers, do a workshop with the ambassadors, teaching them communication skills, how to present effectively, etc. Number two, learning about financial literacy itself. Okay, so we teach them that. Learning about the product, the mobile banking. So what is mobile banking? How does mobile banking work? Um, if I have a mobile banking account, what are the things that I'm capable of doing? So I can pay my bills, I can do this, I can do that. So, and all other soft skills workshops. So basically, um, that's the initial thing that's going on. But on a bigger, if we take it one step further, if we look at it one step further, there are three things involved in financial literacy. Number one, create, save, invest. So creation, um, not just of income or being productive, income generation, livelihood, etc., but also creating the self. How am I? How can I develop myself to be more capable, to be a productive person, to be a productive citizen? And then after that one, when you already have productivity, so you already have an income, you can now learn how to save. And then after saving, what do you do with the money? So you learn to invest. So this is like a journey that we're doing, that we're taking all the participants into. Project Save is the gateway to the other initiatives like entrepreneurship, helping them find employment. Because one of the things that would discourage people on saving, I mean, one of the things that will prevent them from really saving is if they don't have money. So we also try to incorporate trainings that will build their skills so that they can get um, they can apply for a job, or to help build their entrepreneurial skills so that if they want to start a business, they can. Mentoring skills to help them more productive. So it's not just about saving. We also direct them to. We also help them to generate more for themselves. And then lastly, we expand the opportunities more. So there are things right now that is being talked between our bank partner, the global shapers, and the private partners, where we are talking about what are the other opportunities that we can open for the Project Save participants. So that would include credit. Um, we want to extend easier loans, credit for them, especially for like students, out of school youth, startup entrepreneurs, etc. So how can they avail of easy, reliable credit, um, and all the rest of how can they link to other entrepreneurs, etc. So Project Save is still starting. We are doing a caravan for 2015. So we are going from school to school, bringing the Project Save to school, to communities, because not all of the youth are in school. So some of the youth are not studying or working or something like that. And then we are also going to different workplaces for employees. For example, there are lots of companies in the Philippines which we call BPO, call centers, business process outsourcing companies. So we will take the Project Save workshop in the company itself so that work will not be disrupted. We will just take like 1 hour of workshop, and then they can continue, continue the rest of the day. At the same time, they have already learned the concept and they can open the savings account. So that's one big project that the hub is focusing right now. So I think I answered the first question. Yeah. The next question was what do you do? So what do I do? I manage our startup. So the startup is called Invest Mindanao. It is people and business development company. We cater to emerging entrepreneurs and individuals who want to develop themselves more and to be successful in their basically it's for leadership and social entrepreneurship. So the other thing that I do is I'm a consultant of the local government on programs and advocacies. So I work with the local government to help build programs for different communities. So on a daily basis, my day would start with connecting with the local government, talking to like city councilors, city officials, getting their thoughts, what are their plans about programs that they want to implement in the localities. And then in the afternoon, I would go to different communities, talk to women, to the youth, to farmers maybe. So, and then I'll spend some time back in the office, putting all these thoughts together and then trying to think what is the best program for them. For example, if it's a group of farmers, it's the best intervention that can help the farmers. The budget will come from the local government. So, for example, the local government has a budget on agriculture. Let's say it's 50,000 US dollars. So how can we use this 50,000 US dollars to help farmers? So basically, that's the work that I'm currently doing. Third question: how can we collaborate as citizens of the world? Okay, this is something new to me. Because before I became a shaper, I was really so focused on my local community because yeah, this is where I grew up, this is where I lived, and this is the work that I do. But when I started to enter global shapers community, it gave me a chance to see that the problems that we experience here in Davao in the Philippines locally are also experienced by other countries. So there are things that we experience here that other countries also experience. So on that point, we can share best practices, just like what Laurie said. Okay, that's the first one. The other is uh, I also got a chance to know what are the issues on a macro level. Like, what are the issues that affect everybody, and what can be our part in addressing that one. So I think um, in collaborating as citizens of the world, what's most important is number one, the conversation. So we have to start the conversation. So like this one, like what we're doing. So someone from Puerto Rico, Bangalore, and Davao, very different locations from around the world, are talking. And then we got into the World Economic Forum, right? So that's conversation. And from that conversation, we will know exactly, or we hope to know exactly how to move. So those are my thoughts on the three questions. Okay. Isn't Jana already
Can anyone
um
hear me?
Sanjana?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Oh, I just got it. Yeah, I don't know what's up with my video.
Sanjana, are you there?
Maybe Lori, you can Sanjana, are you still there? Maybe we can have Lori first and
Oh,
then
she comes
Sanjana.
and goes. She's hanging out.
Hmm.
So, well, number one about a project in my hub. There is this project called Amplifier for You. It's a collaboration that we have with Boys and Girls Club. I don't know
Hi.
if you
Can you
know
guys hear
about
me?
Boys and Girls Club. I do put my channel. Okay. So Boys and Girls Club is a program that helps adolescents after school, and they have different projects, and they try to develop adolescent skills. So there are a lot of things going on for young people, but they don't always meet. Like there is like a few programs working with young people, but sometimes they don't connect, they don't collaborate. So
Hmm.
about in this project, what we are trying to do is searching what different projects are for young people and what services Boys and Girls Club may are not giving to adolescents. So what we're trying to do is like connect different projects with um, Boys and Girls Club adolescents and teenagers. And we already start bringing a workshop about coding. We bring like two guys that were working in Silicon Bay, and they went to the project and they start teaching them how to code. And we actually expect that they keep on doing the work by themselves as they already took one workshop. So that's one thing. The other thing is we have like there is like a list of young professionals that want to mentor these adolescents or teenagers, so they can have like a role model to follow and they can achieve everything that they want. So that's one project. Another project that we have is Launchpad. It's about entrepreneurship. What we are trying to do there is connecting people who give um, financial help to young people that want to create their own business. So actually, no, the two projects is about connecting one thing with the other because we don't want to invest a lot of stuff right now. If there are like things going on, maybe it would be better if we can connect them instead of doing something new, because that's the issue. You don't know what is going on in your city. You may doing things that other people are doing already. So what do we want to do is like how these people can meet these other people and so they can connect. Um, the second question about what do I do besides being global shaper? I am a community educator. I
Hmm.
work with HIV and sexuality. I started in 2008 being an HIV activist. because I'm HIV positive. So everything that I work with, I work with on a personal level. Like I work with gender, I work with HIV. So obviously I'm a woman, I'm HIV positive. So everything that I work with is on my personal perspective and from my personal experience. I actually don't like to talk a lot about things that I haven't lived. Um, so I work with a community-based organization, a feminist community-based organization. We work with sexual and reproductive health. So my project there is on HIV prevention. I go to different communities doing the HIV testing. I also go to universities, school, different spaces to give workshop and talks about HIV, STI, sexual health, sexual rights. Um, so actually, that's what I do on my job. Besides that, I am part of two different networks. One of them is a regional network about young people living with HIV from Latin America and Caribbean. Um, they start working in 2012. Sorry, I joined in 2013 in February. Um, and actually, it's a network led by young people. It's for young people by young people living with HIV. So what we do is to try to have a space in different decision-making tables, and we try to bring always the youth issue with the HIV issue in different agendas like the post 2015, the International Conference on Population and Development. So we are a group of activists from different parts of Latin America. Um, Actually, that's what like the first space that I have been regionally that I have contact with other people from Latin America. I'm also part of another network called ICW, the International Community of Women Living with HIV. It's a global network. It has different chapters from different regions, like Latin America, Caribbean, North America, MENA, Asia Pacific, etc. I'm part of the first chapter that doesn't represent a region. That is the chapter of young women, adolescents, and girls. So what we try to do there is always to bring the young perspective, because sometimes in these kind of spaces, when you are an activist and you are young, sometimes you can feel intimidating because you are with these old women that have been working with HIV and gender for like years, and you are like, oh my god, how can I do something here? So having this chapter had been very helpful to bring our insight and, and to have a space where we can bring our voices. Um, so I started working with more regionally or globally in 2012 when I participated in the international conference on AIDS in Washington D.C. And from that, I made a lot of contacts. I met a lot of people that are doing a great job. And thanks to that, I have the opportunity to participate in different conferences and spaces. So, going to question number 3. I don't remember my question. So, as citizen of the world, as citizen of the world, how can we collaborate? Well, actually, I have the opportunity to be in different global spaces and conferences. So, for example, for me, it has been very great to be in last year. There was this conference, the World Youth Conference at Sri Lanka, and I met a lot of people there, a lot of young people there from different countries. So now they are like contacts for me, and we don't work with the same things. Each one of us. Sometimes some people work with climate, with gender, health, and with achieving peace and environment, different stuff. But knowing them was a great experience because after that experience, you have the need to find some point between what you do about what other people do. So maybe what you do, we can find some middle point and see how what I do is related to what you do, and that's a way to collaborate. Maybe I can do with someone that I met in the Philippines, or maybe I can networks. And at the end of the day, everything is related. I mean, you cannot see different issues separately because as human beings, we are total human beings. It's not like every section is not related to the rest. So I really hope that Global Shaper and meeting all you guys um, is a great opportunity to keep on the collaboration and introducing you to something that you haven't meet yet. So maybe it's not like from now on you are going to be an HIV activism, but maybe you can give me some support according with what you do, or maybe you know someone that can help me, and I know someone that can help you. So actually, I think that we can relate each one of the things that we work with, and yes, I think we can make a bigger network, not only as global shaper, but beyond being global shapers. Because maybe as global shapers we are doing this, we're doing that, but when you see everything that you do, um, is bigger. So yeah, I think that's great collaboration.
Yeah. I can't see Sanjana yet though, but I wanna. I have a few questions for you, Laurie. Um, Especially on your line of work, because in my city we have quite a number of incidents of HIV. I think in our country even the most number of HIV cases is found in my city. So really, um, it may happen that we are not we are not yet doing like solid interventions to help with people who have HIV in Davao. I know that there are some organizations, though, that extend help to uh, people with HIV here in Davao City. But I specifically want to know for Puerto Rico, for example, for a person with HIV, what are the kinds of help or assistance or support that that person can get from the government, from NGOs? Is there an emotional support group, or basically, what are the initiatives happening in your city to help make the lives of people with HIV better?
Okay, so well, actually, um, to give you a little bit of context, the HIV is the second cause of death in adolescents, and according to the WHO. Um, and so it's not all over the world, but mostly in southern Africa. But the cases in Asia every year are coming higher. So actually, I think Asia is like the third highest incidence region that on HIV. So about what people living with HIV may need. first of all, I will say support group and every related to mental health. And I will say not only for people living with HIV, but for everyone. I think mental health, a lot of
Yeah.
people are ignoring mental health, and suicide is the third cause of death in adolescents. So that give you like some kind of alarm and tells you that mental health should be addressed. So first of all, mental health, because yes, we have the treatment, we have support group, but if you don't have a good mental health, treatment by itself, it won't be enough. Why? Because the stigma may, how can I say, the stigma can in some way forbid you to look for treatment, for services. If you are afraid of being stigmatized or being discriminated, you may not go to the clinic, you may not go to receive your services, and you may feel like you cannot go on having a normal life. And I say normal life because what is a normal life? So first of all, mental health. Second, access to treatment. And for me, it's very important. Not only for people living with HIV, but for everyone. Sex, I don't know in your country, but at least in my country, it's still a taboo in many countries. Talking about sex is not that easy. Sometimes when I go to a school and give a talk and speak about HIV, AIDS, sexuality, some teacher doesn't want me to talk about a lot of things because they say that it's not it's not good for the age and etc. But actually, young people are starting having sex since they are 12 years old. So they need to know that information so they can prevent STIs and HIV. So I will say sexual education from the government, it will be like very important. Maybe as your project about the community education educator, sexual education can be a topic. It will be great, and even more if they are young, because adolescent and young people like we would like to have another young people or another adolescent giving us that information because it will be more friendly. Um, so I will say those three things. Number one, mental health. Number two, access to treatment. And number three, sexual education. And also, maybe they are laws about adolescents. For example, in some countries, not mine, but in some countries, if you are less than 18 years, you cannot go to some clinic and get an HIV test. You need to go with your parents. And if you don't want that your parents know that you are having sex and you may be at risk, you won't get the HIV test. So, for example, I have these friends that he knew that he had HIV since he was 15 years old, but he didn't want to talk with his parents, so he waited until he was 18 to get the test. In those 3 years, he could die. So having maybe starting to reviewing the policies about us and sexuality can be also very helpful, and yeah, it can make our life easier.
What is
If I
the
answer your question.
Yeah, what is the best way to approach people with HIV? Because in my city, I don't know for Puerto Rico, but there's still so much taboo about it. People are shy, are they're not comfortable to say that I have HIV. I have HIV. So I actually personally know lots of cases where these people just die without receiving any help or support because they themselves aren't confident to ask for help. So what do you think, what is the best way to approach people with HIV in order to reach out to them and convince them that asking for support is really the best way to handle their situation?
Um, that could be very complicated because if you don't know that this guy or this woman have HIV, like how do you make the approachment if you don't know? But um, just for example, at clinics, sometimes that give us more confidence is the confidentiality. If we know that we are in a secure space and nothing that we tell you you're going to tell anyone else, that's something that makes us feel a little bit more comfortable. And also not judging. A lot of people, um, when you tell someone, when I tell someone, hey, I live with HIV, the second question that they also ask me, hey, how do you get infected? And I know that that is like a general question, like is the question number two after you say I'm HIV positive, and and yes, um, it's not that I have issues saying it, but why do you care? Like, it's really matter, and it's because the way you got infected. Because one of the main way to get infected with HIV is having unprotected relationship. Um, so as sex being a taboo, if you got infected having sex, people may judge you. So there are some questions that we just want to avoid, and to don't enter in those kind of conversation, we just don't say it because people usually tend to not discriminate, but give some discrimination. And also, um, for the clinical staff, it will be great if they can treat people like if they are also part of the treatment. For example, when you first maybe get your diagnosis, maybe the doctor will tell you, hey, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to take these pills. But sometimes that process is not that positive. You don't get a lot of participation, and if they don't provide you the information so you can do good choices and you can know what are your options, and that can give you a little bit more confidence, not only go to the doctor and do what the doctor says. Having the information, the education is actually like a good way. So more than just come to us and asking, hey, how you got infected? Hey, how do you live? Hey, how many pills do you take? It would be better if we know that we have your support, that you will be there for us, and and yes, you that maybe you just want to make our life a little bit easier. Um, so yes, maybe having support is maybe the best way.
Yeah, this is a bit of a bit of those sensitive topics that is kind of hard to really handle. There is an organization that I am helping right now. It is called Lawig Bubay. It is an organization of prostituted women and children, um, women who were survivors of prostitution, and on that sphere, their youngest member is 13 years old, but um, she started that job at 9 years old.
Wow.
So yeah. So very, very, very early. One of the reasons would be, well, poverty. That girl, according to the social worker in that organization, that girl lived in the streets. They don't have a permanent house. Her mother was a prostitute. And so at 9 years old, those are the things that she saw. Her mom was a prostitute, they're living in the street. So at 9 years old, that's the thing that, she knew how to earn money by
Mhm.
doing that job. So she started at 9. And then now she's 13. She's already part of this organization that helps women to get out of prostitution. At least there is that kind of effort, but we can still say that there are still more women and children out there that are not being able to be reached by these organizations. It's quite a tricky topic.
Yeah,
Right?
actually, the sexual work for me is like it's a big deal in because there are lots of different opinions about sexual work because in one side yes, it's your body, so you should be able to decide what do you want to do with your body. um, Also, we know that poverty is a huge factor about why women mostly do sexual work, and also being migrant, maybe you are undocumented or something like that. So, and the thing is that being sexual worker, all, all obviously, um, is not only a way, like a big factor to get infected with HIV, but also to receive violence. For example, here in my country, sexual work is illegal, and when I'm working with sexual workers, there usually there's always this guy that is like the manager. So sometimes it's the manager that make the business with the customers, and not always the women are the one that make the business or anything. So, for example, when I go to these places to work with sexual workers and make them the HIV test and etc., it's illegal also that your employer asks you for an HIV test. You cannot go for a job and they can make you the HIV test. If they do that, you can go to the Department of Work and sue them. So, but here, since the sexual work is illegal, these women they cannot just go to the Department of Work and say, "Hey, my employer is asking me for the HIV test," because you maybe go to prison because sexual work is illegal. So there is no law that can protect them um, while they are doing sexual work. So obviously that give more space to receive violence, maybe can give you a higher risk to get infected with HIV, to be killed on the street because some places are quite dangerous. So sexual work is like, yeah, a big deal, tricky issue. But it's great what you do. And also sometimes people think that just bringing them out of that work is enough. But if you are not giving them maybe options to have a job, to have an education, um, maybe you're doing nothing because they will go again and do it because that's the only thing that they know, the only way they know to get easy money. And it's worse if they are adolescent or if they are mothers, because if you have children, like you need the money like now. You don't need the money in 2 weeks or in the next month. So complicated.
Yeah. How do you handle I mean, what you're doing is quite personal, right? So, are there times that you feel affected by the issues that you face? I mean, how do you cope with it? How do you handle with the stress? Do you get affected when you're in the field, for example?
Yeah, definitely. Um, there was last year. There was a moment that I have like this huge depression because after many years going to school, to universities, to different places to talk about HIV prevention, etc. Like every 10 days, a young person was getting infected by HIV, and when you realize like wow, every 10 days that's less than every 2 weeks. So that's like a big number if you see on the at the end of the year. So for me it was very depressing because I feel like the job that I was doing it didn't work. Like nothing that I do was going to stop young people getting infected by HIV. But but then I speak with a lot of friends and about the team with my supervisor, um, and we talk about it and I feel better. But yes, definitely affect me, and I think that when I give a positive result, um, I think I think that me being HIV positive can can end up in a bad result for that people that I giving the positive result because I know what will happen now, and they ask me a lot of personal questions that if were another people that didn't live with HIV, maybe will be like more complicated. So being there in that moment, like giving that result and being able to share my experience, the good stuff, but also the bad stuff, because yes, like you can see me like now very happy and everything, but there have been a lot of bad stuff in my life. So I try to be very realistic. Like, yes, maybe in a couple of years you will be great, but right now it will be complicated. So giving them the information and educating them about the rights, the opportunities, and maybe being an example actually can be like very good for them. But also, that I what I do is using all that affect me. Um, I always share that kind of stuff with other people that live also with HIV, and if I see it like a collectively issue, then I know that it's not like isolated case. If you have a lot of isolated case, it's an issue. It's a real issue. So I believe that personal is political. So I always try to give like a political answer and bring it as an issue that should be addressed.
I see. Last question. What do you think is the what do you think is an example of a very simple project that we can do with regards to like HIV, sexual education, and along that lines? I mean, what can be the most easy to execute, simple, but at the same time can help, with the impact. Like for example, because our hub is still starting, or maybe it's something that I can start not with the global shapers, maybe with other organizations. So, is there anything that you can advise what we can do?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. So, what can be an example of a very simple project that we can do to help, um, in the fight against HIV, or maybe is it about education or maybe is it about recovery or support system? I mean, what can you suggest a very simple project where we can start with?
Simple project. Wow. Um, I um well, one thing that you can do, for example, maybe you can do a project in collaboration with some activists that may you have at your country or with some network. Um, Another thing that you can do is using your platform for community educators is maybe training someone for that can give a um, sexual education. Maybe maybe something that can you can do. For example, maybe you know how can I explain this? If your government give condoms to young people, maybe having some kind of um, recipients in places where young people go to hang out and have beers and meet each other or whatever, maybe having condoms available in those kind of places can be cool. Like, I don't know, maybe in the bathroom having a place, just like you can find like tampons and sanitary toys and whatever. Maybe having something like that, but for condoms, maybe that would be nice because sometimes the issue is maybe young people want to use condoms, but if they don't have them available, maybe they won't use it because uh, for a lot of people condoms can be expensive. So if the government having them accessible and give them for free, maybe collaborating so they can be in more accessible places for young people, maybe universities, and it's something like it's something easy. You just need to design like where to put them, like the recipients, and talking with owners of clubs, pubs, and see if they can allow you to put them in their business.
Now that's the thing. We currently have a reproductive health bill uh, currently on discussion with the national government. There is a taboo in buying condoms, actually. So,
Yeah.
unlike other countries, in the Philippines, you don't find condoms being widely distributed. Like, it's not widely available for free. You can buy them over the counter, yes, but there is a taboo in buying condoms. I mean, for sure, usually young people are not comfortable buying them over the counter because their friends might see them buying a condom. Uh, Sex before marriage is still such a taboo here. We are a very conservative country. So there are some talks around that, but we have a difficulty on how to get that going.
Maybe,
There is
maybe a campaign. I don't
Yeah,
know, a Facebook campaign. That's a good way to start a conversation. You may
oh
start a conversation on Facebook, maybe using a hashtag on Twitter, on Instagram, and maybe before, after a couple of months, 6 months, 1 year, you can start another project or another collaboration that goes beyond that campaign.
yeah.
But
I think that makes
if there is a lot of taboo talking about here also people like have taboo like buying, but you can also find them in organizations. Um,
mm,
but if you don't know about it, if you can get education for what you don't know that exists. So I think it will be better if you start first a conversation, and I don't know, maybe people seeing a picture, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Maybe we can start with organizations that are already, within that sphere. So actually, someone very close to me died because of HIV. So that is why that topic also interests me. He died last year. No, 2 years ago. He died
No,
two
so
years ago. We did not know that he had HIV. We knew that he had HIV a few months before he died, when his health was already very poor, when his body was already crashing, and then the diagnosis was pneumonia until
okay.
it's really very hard to cure it. So I had that suspicion that maybe it is HIV. The doctor, and he confirmed it just a very short time before he died. So he's one of the cases that I personally know, and he's very close to me, who did not really, receive help, support with regards to his condition. So in my opinion, I think in my city, there is still a lot that needs to be done with regards that topic, HIV, sex education, birth control, values, all these taboo. People are not very comfortable talking about it, but we have the highest incidence in our country. That's the thing. We have the highest incidence. We have the record of one of the youngest sexual workers, but there isn't much talk going around it. There are a few LGBTQI organizations, and that's where the talk usually happens, but it's limited there. Outside of these LGBTQI organizations, still quite a taboo. In school, you won't hear about it. There are like a few efforts, but it's really not enough. It's not even 50. It's not even like 5 out of 10 or 50%. Really, really, it's really hard to tackle that one, especially if culturally you're very conservative. Especially if your parents are very conservative about it. Your friends are kind of fear it. There's a stigma against it. It's one of the topics that doesn't get quite a lot of attention and support. If I'm going to like look at how my city is addressing that kind of concern, and I think basically it's because of culture. It's because of Philippines being a primarily Catholic country, conservative Catholic country. So when these things are happening, you know, um, there are young sexual workers, people are having HIV, there's high incidence, etc. We're kind of like scrambling for answers and solutions, how to address that one while the incidence is growing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's we don't For me in my case, I haven't seen like a very solid plan yet on how to address it from government. There have been talks, but there's a lot of resistance against this kind of topic.
Mm-hmm. So maybe one way to address it is like trying to to deliver the voice that sexual health is also health. So everything related to sexual health, so it needs to be to address maybe not as an health issue, but maybe it's a good way to start it. Um, Also, maybe knowing like the best practices of other countries, um,
Yeah.
that can be something to start working with. Also, for me, it's like very not funny, but ironic that, for example, in a few years ago in Asia, one of the countries with the highest incidence was Thailand.
Mm.
However, a big part of the condoms were made in Thailand.
Mm.
So, like, for me, it was crazy. I mean, how can you make condoms in your own country and having like that high incidence? So yeah, maybe um, we there is some. I think that one friend told me once from Colombia. She's indigenous, and she told me that yes, she wants to prolong her culture and and all that indigenous root. But sometimes she asks herself, like at what cost are we trying to promote that culture and the root between young people if as a culture, if as a nation we cannot move to do better things. So how maybe the culture is affecting us in some way to address some issues like sex, for example. So it's not like forget about your culture, but maybe how can your culture more can address better that issue that have been happening like for the whole life. I mean, maybe now we have HIV, but back there maybe there were other stuff also. Um, so yeah, it's a big issue. But if one people start talking about it, that's something.
Yeah, I agree. I agree also. Yeah. Thank you, Lori, for sharing your thoughts about it. And based on what I hear from you, there Puerto Rico is more or less has more interventions, more support, more conversations happening about. I mean, you're more comfortable tackling with the issue, if I'm correct. Um, there is less resistance in Puerto Rico versus in my own city, and I do hope we get to that state. You know, uh, not just with HIV, but with other issues that affect the quality of life, affect people, poverty, economies, etc. I mean, uh, there is really that resistance at first to to address issues that are sensitive like HIV, but there is also with that resistance there is also that possibility of the issue becoming worse and worse if we do not address it. So I guess the sense of urgency to really um, be willing to tackle the issue, whether how awkward or how sensitive it is. You know, the brave souls who start the conversation are really the game changers in, you know, trying to change the mindsets of people to to help on these certain areas. So I really appreciate your thoughts on you sharing about what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm sorry we took most of the time to talk about HIV, but it
No,
was a good conversation anyway.
yeah, because I myself, as I told you earlier, I'm very interested about that topic because um, it happened to someone very close to me, and
Mm.
we were just really so shocked. Um, to just to share a bit of a story, I was I was there on the first time he was experiencing a physical like attack. We had to rush him to the hospital. He said it was pneumonia, and that was the diagnosis of the doctor. So we rushed him to the hospital. But when the nurse came into the room and he was starting to ask questions to this person, in my mind, I was thinking, a lot of these questions I can relate to HIV. I wasn't so knowledgeable about HIV yet at that point, but I felt like she's hinting that 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 person close to me has HIV, and I was afraid. I was terrified to ask him about it. I was terrified to ask him, "Hey, do you have that HIV?" Because he was also not so close with his parents, his friends, etc. And then we keep seeing his health decline, and it was me at that time, with a circle of people around him. It was me who really suspected that he had that one. But we knew about it, I think, like maybe just a few weeks before he died. That's the time that he admitted it to us. So I got interested about it because it has impacted me. It has impacted someone very close to me. Second was because, as I've told you earlier, I am helping this organization of prostituted women and children, and I was so surprised that they shared to me that their youngest member is 13 and she started at 9. And then they also shared that we had the highest statistics. Davao has the highest statistics of prostitution and HIV in our country. So it's like a blind spot that is slowly revealing to me through personal experiences and through experiences of, my friends, and I haven't really seen much effort about it. That's why I was interested on asking you, really interested in asking you those questions, because I think we need more people like you here in our city and really advocating for it, openly talking about it. Because the people that I see that openly talks about it here are, number one, part of the LGBTQ. Even
Mm-hmm.
that even that community, LGBT, is still not 100% totally accepted. I mean, there are still a few taboos about the LGBTQ. So you get a person who's like gay saying that he also has HIV and he's an advocate. I mean, it's kind of hard
Mm-hmm.
for people sometimes to take that person seriously, just because he's gay. I you get what I'm saying. So yeah, it's for me. I don't have any ideas on how to get it going. Well, to be honest, I am not in the position, or I don't have that much time and resources. But even with the few things that we can help with, I mean, Global Shapers Hub in Davao is just new starting, and I want to open the hub, the application also for to welcome LGBTQ people, people from really different marginalized sectors, and I'm really thinking about welcoming a specific like representative from that area, from that sector, who advocates against HIV, who works with prostituted women, because these are the issues that our city is facing, but no one is addressing. So I want to
Yeah.
get shape, yeah, within that industry.
Yeah.
But I'm
That
afraid.
that would be
I
great.
don't know how to say it publicly. That hey Davao, I am inviting someone who's an advocate against HIV and who is an advocate for prostituted women and children. Guy, you guys that are working on these issues, can you apply as global shapers? So I still don't know how to say it, how to approach, how to do the announcement. But yeah, I'm still trying to think how to do it.
I will say HIV an HIV activist. Um, I mean, there is different point of view about the language, but one thing that, for example, in my network, we think is that when you say against HIV, it's like saying against us because the HIV is in us. So
I
so it will be better if you say in response of HIV or for HIV or for people living with HIV or HIV activists, some stuff like
I see. So
that.
even that, even with the language, really. So we don't know how to deal with it.
Well,
So
maybe
even that,
that's a good way to start a collaboration. The
yeah.
language. The language is very important because um, we have like different ways to call like different population, um, but some like using the language can be kind of tricky because you want to use a language that that address some dignity and that doesn't sound discriminating and like you want to hurt them, for example, against HIV.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I can share some stuff about language with you, definitely, and maybe it's
Or
a good
maybe,
way.
yeah, or
Maybe
maybe how about because we're opening the hub now to recruit additional shapers. So how about we have we get a video from a global shaper from a different hub which is involved in a certain advocacy. So for example, uh, a video from an HIV activist, a global shaper who's an HIV activist like you, a 1 minute video saying that, hi, I'm Laurie, I'm a global shaper, and I'm doing this. And I'm a
okay.
global shaper at the same time. So I invite people like me to also join the Global Shapers Davao Hub, something like that. You think it's a good idea?
Oh, yeah,
And then send that video out in like Facebook or during our onboarding, during our recruitments, etc.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
The very
I,
first thing that I would like shapers coming into the hub is to think that there is someone that they can identify with, that they don't think that they are alone. They feel that they are really part of the group. They don't feel out of place. And they
okay.
can come into the Global Shapers Davao Hub and come in as you are. There is nothing wrong with being for example, an HIV activist because we have an HIV activist, a Global Shaper HIV activist in Puerto Rico. And if you want, immediately you can talk to that person because the Global Shapers community is a global community, something like that. I want to create that inviting, environment. So maybe
Yeah,
I would ask you to do like a short video message to also help us with the recruitment here in Davao.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the
yeah. I
very
will.
first collaboration point. Yeah. We're just three shapers in Davao City. Me, no, four. So the founding curator, me, someone from the national government who's a social entrepreneur, and then
Okay.
someone from the academe. So those are the
Oh,
only shapers that we have right now. And of course, you want to have shapers from different, areas of advocacies, walks of life, different profession, etc. And that's the initial idea that I thought, why not ask shapers from all over the country, especially the Davos 50, because that's the most diverse group of global shapers that you can have. So maybe like even from the Davos 50, even a 30-second video, saying that, hi, I'm a global shaper, I'm like this, I'm an HIV activist. If you are an HIV activist in your city, in Davao City, come join the Davao Hub. Something like that.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I mean, I think the global shaper community needs to get a little bit more diverse. Most of the people, um, we are kind of the same things. Maybe
Yeah.
social entrepreneur, economics, government, business. So yeah, I hope that every year the global community get more diverse. Definitely.
I agree. I'm kind current on the lookout for shapers from other hubs who are like not the usual shapers. Like for example, if I can get a shaper who is a novelist, for example, so or a painter or doing a very
Yeah.
not common job, a yoga instructor or something like that. And then just 20-second videos, 30-second videos like that, so that people won't think because uh, I don't know for other hubs, but in Davao City, some people have the notion that to be a global shaper, you have to be like this, and this, and this, and if you're not within that criteria, global shapers is really not for you. But that's not right. That's not true, correct? We want to have, real diversity. We want representation. So I'll start with a video from you, Lori. I'll ask like a short clip from you to invite other
Yeah.
HIV activists to
Yeah,
um
I have to know someone. I have to know someone. Yeah, definitely. I will I will write you. I will do the work as soon as possible, and I let you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Just like maybe a few lines would be very great, very great. And then we'll we will play your face in like big LEDs across the city. To like an yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. That's a really I'll try to open it up also with the other Davos 50 and who wants to take part in this initiative and maybe uh not just say come join the Davao hub, but maybe join the hub in your city so that we can recycle the videos for other
Mhm.
recruitments. Hmm. Yeah, so that we can all share, videos like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. I just read in the WhatsApp that they're going to start sharing Davos soon.
Oh,
So
great.
to join that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is it okay that we end this conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Lori.
Yeah. Thank you, Liz. It was
And
so
then,
lovely to talk to you.
thank you also. I will
So,
follow up you.
uh,
I
you will follow up
yeah, I
to
will
me.
follow up.
Okay.
I will follow
Okay.
up your.
Okay.
I will ask for your video.
Okay.
Maybe next week or the week after. No pressure, but
Okay.
no. Make it like your Valentine's Day gift for me. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very
Wow.
much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
wait. To see more, go to shaperdamos2015.tumblr.com.
Yep, yep. I will post this one in the Shapers Davos. Thank you very much. And then if Sanjana, I don't know, Sanjana is still not there. So I guess we will end the broadcast now. I am pasting the link to the next broadcast in our group chat. So Laurie, you can immediately go to that link if you want to join the Sharing Davos. And thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you also. So yeah, that has been the first hub to hub one-on-one sharing. I'll stop the broadcast now. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.